I'm sitting here at the marina and I'm just thinking about my life. At this moment, I'm 57 years old, and I've just learned in the past few months about limbic system impairment and how much of a profound effect that it has had on my life. Limbic system impairment is when there's an injury in the brain from trauma or traumas. And I've lived my whole life not knowing about this. Just always knowing that something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. Growing up in domestic violence, the first emotion that I can recall is fear. As a little girl, I always felt afraid. And that's just going back to as far as I can remember, which is probably 3 or 4. But I was born into domestic violence. Most likely my mom was physically abused while she was pregnant with me. So I probably have experienced trauma since I was in utero. So throughout my life, I've always had issues with fear and anxiety and not feeling safe. As a little girl, I never slept through the night because most of the violence happened at night while we were already in bed, and we'd wake up to it. So even as a little girl, I didn't sleep all night like most children do. I would always wake up during the night scared, or I'd have nightmares, or I'd be waking up to the violence with no one to turn to, just laying there by myself, scared, putting a pillow over my head. But I had no one to comfort me, so I guess I learned to internalize everything and to just, shut down or dissociate or whatever I did. But when I was 12, I developed an eating disorder, which now I understand is, it's an addictive behavior to try to gain some kind of control or feeling of control in your life, because you can't control the situation, you can't control your circumstances, but you can control your own body. And I discovered that perfectionism, trying to do everything perfectly, trying to keep my body perfect, my clothing perfect, my bedroom perfect, my behavior perfect, my weight perfect. And for about a year or so, I was starving myself. Fortunately, my mom got me some help, and I was able to come out of those behaviors, which saved my life, really. I still had some disordered eating over the years, but I never went back to starving myself after that point. But the low self-esteem and the need to feel safe and the need for control and perfectionism followed me my whole life, as did some anxiety and fear and bouts of depression, low-grade depression. I've always been very high functioning, always able to raise my kids and work and babysit for other people's children and maintain jobs that I had and, stuff like that. I was never housebound or bedbound or, so depressed or anxious that I wasn't functioning. I was very high functioning, but I always felt this sense of something wrong with me. And then over the years, different health problems started developing. Every time a stressful event would happen in my life, like having a baby, where I lost sleep and pushed myself too much and stressed out, whether it was planning a marriage or having a baby and being up for 36 hours straight, never knowing how to take care of myself. I always was really bad at self-care, so I pushed myself to exhaustion, and part of that perfectionism just wore myself out over and over, time and time again in my life. And every time I did that, it was harder to bounce back, and I would always end up hitting a wall and just burning out and getting sicker, developing food sensitivities and candida, hypoglycemia, and eventually leaky gut and SIBO and tinnitus and more food sensitivities, until I could only tolerate, a couple of dozen foods, which is kind of where I'm still at right now. My lowest weight was about 83, just from the food intolerances. But somewhere along the line, trying so many different protocols and things to get well, just, anti-candida diets, low histamine diets, low FODMAP diets, whole foods diets, fruit diets, macrobiotic diets, I mean, you name it, leaky gut diets, all kinds of elimination diets, paleo, vegetarian, vegan, not to mention mainstream medicine, functional medicine, chiropractic, acupuncture, different programs I've tried. Oh my gosh, like so many things. And I might get a little bit of relief, like for a couple of weeks or something, and I'd think, oh my gosh, like I finally figured it out, and then I'd crash again. Could never get beyond just a little bit of improvement. But the latest thing, about 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with advanced osteoporosis. So from years and years of that limbic system impairment, being stuck in fight or flight, being stuck in survival mode and never moving back into rest and restore, it really took a toll on my body. And so I wasn't able to restore bone overnight, or, bone, muscle, a lot of deterioration, because my body's just been ramped up for so long because of my brain impairment. My whole life has been just survival mode. But a few months ago, I started actually verbalizing to people before I found out about this. I just feel like my body or my brain is stuck in fight or flight, like all the time. I'm wired. I'm tired, but I'm wired. I just don't feel relaxed and peaceful, and every day is just always surviving, not thriving. And I started really feeling that way, and I started looking up some stuff online, and I found this group that talked about this limbic system impairment and retraining your brain. And So I found a program that was inexpensive called DNRS, and that's what I'm doing. I'm about 2 months in. I have seen some shifts in my mood and a few positive things, but unfortunately in the 2 months that I've been doing it, a lot of unexpected stressors have come up. Health issues with my husband, and right now I have COVID and my husband has COVID, and we're moving and selling our house, and we just have a lot going on. But I am fully convinced that I have limbic system impairment, and I am fully convinced that this is the answer, and I'm committed to this program to do it for at least 6 months, but I'll do it however long it takes, because I want my life back. I want to know what it feels like to have a brain that's functioning properly, a brain that is not stuck in trauma loops. I want to have a healthy brain, a healthy body. I want to know what it feels like to be fully free and living and fully who I'm supposed to be, because I know that I am not the fearful, anxious, unwell person that I've been manifesting for so many years. I know that I am strong. I am creative and curious and vibrant and joyful and childlike, and I love people. I want to serve people. I love God. I want to live out who I truly am, and I know that I have not been able to do that. I've always known there was more to me than what I was experiencing. I just didn't understand why I was stuck and how to get unstuck. I believe that God has a plan, a good plan for my life, that I am going to live a vibrant, full, unrestricted, amazing life, and I'm going to help other people get well. My life over the years has become so small and so restricted. I have not been able to eat in restaurants or eat other people's cooking or travel or move my body freely. I have to think about everything in an environment. I'm constantly on high alert, and so much has been stolen from me. I didn't realize how restricted and small my life had gotten until I really started getting into this program and seeing other people get well and realizing how much I've been missing out on in life. And I look forward to becoming the person that God created me to be, living an unrestricted, full, abundant, joy-filled, amazing, fun life, and serving others to help them do the same. That will be amazing.